Thanks for joining us. I'm Gabe with Backwoods Pursuit. Today we're going to look at one of the Zpacks quilts, and specifically we've got the Zpacks Solo Quilt here that we're going to take a look at. If you're in the market for the best ultralight backpacking quilt, the Zpacks quilts are definitely one you want to take a look at. They are some of the lightest out there, if not the lightest, and something that is just going to be a feather light in your backpack, so definitely want to take a look at these. I'm going to go over the features of this solo quilt here from Zpacks, as well as how it performed for me in my testing with a couple of different pads and some of the things you can do to get the most out of this quilt. And so we're going to go over each of those things, as well as go over a couple of things that I liked and didn't like about this Zpacks Solo Quilt. So stick around for that at the end here. As always, we really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button for us and follow us on our Facebook and Instagram accounts. Check out our website, backwoodspursuit.com, as well. We've got a lot of other gear reviews there. We're putting together gear reviews on this quilt, as well as a bunch of other we've been testing, a bunch of sleeping bags we've been testing as well. So go check those out. Make sure you're subscribed over there and here on the channel to catch all of those reviews. Let's go get started on this. Alright, so let's get into some of the details and the specs and materials on the Zpacks Solo Quilt here. First up, you've got a Ventum ripstop nylon material that is proprietary to Zpacks as far as the shell and the liner here. It is DWR treated, and it's a little bit different than some of the other 7 denier fabrics that I've used. The Ventum ripstop is a 7 denier fabric here from Zpacks, but it's a little bit more rigid than some of the other 7 denier fabrics out there. If you've ever used them, they're super pliable, super flexible, but this is a little bit more rigid, or a little more stiff, if you will, and it actually does a really good job of keeping down in place and that sort of thing. So I really did like the Ventum ripstop material. As far as the down that's in here, you've got a 900 fill tech down. So you do have that water repellent down on the inside, and the DWR treatment on the Ventum ripstop nylon on the outside. So it does help avoid some weather. Of course, it's not waterproof, so you don't have that, but it is DWR treated on the inside and the outside there. Zpacks sizes fairly generously on their quilts. So typically when I'm looking at a quilt, I like to go with a wide model to give myself the ability to tuck this all the way underneath me if the nights are getting colder. Well, with the Zpacks quilt, I went with the regular size. They come in a slim, regular, and broad. The slim model, they state, will fit up to a 50-inch shoulder girth. This one fits up to a 55-inch shoulder girth, the regular, and then the broad model fits up to a 60-inch shoulder girth. So this fit right in the area that I need it to be. I'm 52 around the shoulder for my shoulder girth, so this this regular was just about perfect for me. As far as a weight for the solo quilt here, this one is the 30 degree, and it comes in at 14.1 ounces, just incredibly lightweight for a quilt. And I'll go over how it did in the temperature rating compared to how it performed for me, but it did super awesome that way, and the weight is just incredible on these quilts. 14.1 ounces for a 30 degree quilt. That's pretty tough to beat. So that is another one of the features. You can see here the vertical baffles on the upper portion of this, and then down here on the foot box you can see the horizontal baffles. And you can also see you've got a little bit larger foot box there, which is super comfortable. That gives your feet a little bit extra room that way. Here at the head of the quilt, you've got one snap on the top here that closes off the top of the quilt, and then you have a drawstring here that can cinch that down around your neck. Something that's unique to these Zpacks quilts is that this drawstring is not a cord, nylon cord. It's actually an elastic. So that is, it makes it actually more comfortable around your neck, but it does also give it a feel like it's a little more fragile, if you will. So it's a little bit different, takes a little bit of getting used to, but it is super comfortable once you kind of get the hang of how to get that tightened down for you. And it takes a couple of pulls. It really is super comfortable. Durability, obviously, we'll see how that lasts long term, but I do really like that being an elastic. Of course, as part of the philosophy for these Zpacks quilts is they are a minimalistic and ultralight quilt. So there's not a lot of frills on these quilts, but man, they are ultralight and they are compact. So let's turn this over here as far as the strap system, the pad strap system. Let me turn it this way for you so you can see that a little bit better. On the Zpacks quilts, you've got one strap here. So a lot of the other ones out on the market have two straps. This one just has the one, and then you also have your buckle around the up around your neck there. So this strap system is one that can be adjusted, which I do really like having the ability to adjust that, and it's going to be just a simple clip-in style. This here can be rotated to where you've got to move this clip over to the edge like that, so you can open that up to the width of your pad if you'd like, or you can, of course, on the colder nights, you go ahead and tighten that all the way down, center that back up, and that seals that up almost like a sleeping bag. Now, that's one of the things I liked about the sizing of these quilts, is even in a regular size, I'm able to tuck that all the way underneath me and make it like a sleeping bag on those colder nights to get a little bit of extra warmth out of the quilt by doing that, rather than having that opened up all the way to the width of your pad. That's one tip that I do like, to have a wide enough quilt that if I want to, I can tuck it all the way underneath me, and these solo quilts offer you the ability to do that. So that's one of the things I really do like about that. I do wish that here that we had a second clip, or maybe a button right here. I found that during use, having just the one clip there, it's real easy for that to pop open. You have a pretty large area, a large gap here between this clip and that first or the only pad strap. So another clip somewhere in this area, right in here, I think would help a little bit. I would gladly carry the less than a 1 ounce penalty, just a fraction of an ounce, to have that extra clip there. But at the same time, I totally get why they didn't, because this is a minimalist style quilt. Once you get used to using quilts, it's not a big deal. You can just fix that if you do have a gap. You roll over and a gap opens up there. It's real easy to fix. That's just one of the compromises you make with having something this lightweight. So that is how this strap system works. Oh, and one other thing, the way that some quilts you'll have on the pad straps, you'll slide them down over the top. This one's unique in that it is a clip-on style like this, so it's a little bit easier to get on and off the pad. You go ahead and just clip that on, and you're ready to go. So a little bit easier to get that rolling when you have to set up your camp at night, especially if it's dark or something like that. It is nice to have a little bit easier setup that way. So let's talk about how this thing performed for me when I did my temperature rating, or when I was doing my testing with this quilt. So the first time I tested this quilt, it was actually with this pad. This is the X-Ped Sinmat Sinmat UL. Now it has a R value of 2.9, and so I thought that would pair well with this quilt, and it really does. I do like the covering on these X-Ped pads, because they're real soft and they're great for a quilt. But I found that when I used this pad, I started getting chilled around 35 degrees, and this is a 30-degree quilt. So I switched over to a higher R value pad, actually one that was super warm, the X-Ped Down Mat UL, with an R value of 7.1. And by making that switch, I added, I think, 3 ounces or so in the mat, 3 or 4 ounces, something like that. But that gave me the ability to get down to about 28 degrees with this quilt and stay warm. And I was super impressed with that. Being a 30-degree quilt and being only 14.1 ounces, I thought there was no way ever that this thing would get me down to 30 degrees and stay warm. But with a warm enough mat, it did more than that. So I was really, really impressed with that. I was really impressed at the way it handled that cold weather. And again, it was super comfortable with that drawstring, elastic drawstring. So a couple of things about that. You can see here the loft on this is really, really good. You've got that 900 filled down, so it lofts really well. You can see you've got just a lot of loft there, and it pops right back for you. Does a really good job that way. So really impressed with this. So this is the Solo Quilt, all stuffed in the stuff sack that's included from Zpacks. It is nice that it comes with the Dyneema roll top stuff sack here, so you can use this obviously as the Solo Quilt stuff sack, or you can use it for something else, like if you want to store clothes or something else in this. It's basically a dry bag as well. You can see it's got a roll top on there on the top of it, just clips on there. So super nice, super lightweight, and multi-purpose kind of a stuff sack as well. So that's the Solo Quilt. Thanks for watching here today, and I'll put a link again in the description to this for you if you want to check it out for yourself. We'll see you next time.